Travis fell in love with the perfect woman. Beautiful, understanding, available 24/7. There was just one catch. She wasn't human. Binge all episodes of Flesh and Code early and ad-free right now on Wondery Plus.
What if I told you that the crime of the century is happening right now?
From coast to coast, people are fleeing flames, wind, and water.
Nature is telling us, I can't take this anymore.
These are the stories we need to be telling about our changing planet. Stories of scams, murders, and cover-ups, and the things we're doing to either protect the Earth or destroy it. This is Lawless Planet. Follow Lawless Planet on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back for another episode of Reality Life with KKC. Today's episode is about a perplexing true crime case and docuseries. And I wanted to note it is one of two cases that I cover this week on the podcast. In an upcoming episode, I will be turning the spotlight to the Delphi case. There is a new Hulu docuseries called Capturing a Killer, The Man on the Bridge. And this offers fresh insight into that investigation. And I will be including in that episode an interview with one of the victims' mothers, sharing their personal story and perspective. In this episode, I'm going to talk about the yogurt shop murders. This is a case that continues to haunt Austin, Texas, and it now has a powerful new documentary series streaming on HBO called The Yogurt Shop Murders. I first saw an episode about this case years ago on 48 Hours, and I have to say since then, I do find myself looking for updates pretty regularly. It's a story that has never left my mind. And in fact, if you have lived in the Austin, Texas area, you have probably heard about this as well. So picture it. December 1991, I want you to put yourself there. Austin, Texas. Nestled into the heart of Central Texas. Austin is the state capital, a city known for its rolling hills, live music, and progressive energy. In the early 1990s, it was still a mid-sized city with a small town feel. Home to the University of Texas and the Texas state capital. Austin was beginning to grow in 1991, but it hadn't yet become the bustling tech hub and cultural powerhouse that it is today. So it's Friday, December 6, 1991. Winter hadn't fully settled in. The weather that day was mild for Texas, cool but not cold. The sky had been overcast with light wind and temperatures hovering in the 50s. It felt like an ordinary early December day. The kind where people wore sweaters, went holiday shopping, and teenagers hung out after school. I Can't Believe It's Yogurt was located in Northwest Austin, in a strip mall at the intersection of West Anderson Lane and Burnett Road, a busy suburban commercial area surrounded by residential neighborhoods. The store sat at the end of the strip, just a short walk from a bookshop, a shoe store, and a Safeway grocery store. It was the kind of place where kids stopped in after school, where families grabbed a treat on the weekend, where local teens worked part-time behind the counter. It was brightly lit, cheerful, and seemingly safe. That Friday evening, it was frequented by couples, high schoolers, and regulars, people grabbing frozen yogurt before heading to a movie or stopping by after dinner. In December 1991, that shop was franchise-owned. The local franchisee was Barbara Ayers. The day-to-day operations of the store were typically overseen by shift supervisors and teen employees, like 17-year-old Jennifer Harbison, who was managing the store that night. Jennifer and her coworker, 17-year-old Eliza Thomas, were both working the closing shift, while Jennifer's younger sister, Sarah, age 15, and her friend Amy, age 13, also the daughter and only child of the owner, Barbara, had come by to hang out and wait for a ride home. Around 9:30 p.m., Jennifer's sister Sarah and her friend Amy arrived at the shop after a trip to the mall. They were planning to hang out until Jennifer got off of work, and then the three would ride home together. A few customers stopped in during the last hour, including a couple who noted that the girls were cheerful and friendly. The last known customer left around 10:42 p.m. He saw Jennifer and Eliza cleaning up and the two younger girls sitting at a table. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary. After that customer left, the front door was likely locked as the girls continued their closing routine, mopping the floors, counting the register, and prepping for the next day. Now, what happened next remains unclear. But investigators believe that killers were already inside the shop hiding or had forced their way in shortly after closing. Sometime between 10:45 p.m. and 11:45 p.m., a brutal and calculated crime took place and all 4 girls were killed. After the murders, the killers doused the back room in accelerant, likely lighter fluid or rubbing alcohol, and set it on fire, possibly in an attempt to destroy evidence. At 11:47 p.m., a patrol officer passing by noticed smoke coming from the yogurt shop. By 11:48 p.m., Austin firefighters arrived. They broke through the glass front door and rushed inside. And as they moved toward the source of the flames in the back room, they discovered the unimaginable: all 4 girls. The murders shocked the entire city. They were brutal, calculated, and senseless. Within days, schools held vigils, news trucks flooded Austin, and what started as a local crime would become one of the most haunting and frustrating murder investigations in Texas history.
Hey everybody, it's Nicole Byer here with some hot takes from Wayfair. A cozy corduroy sectional from Wayfair? Yeah, that's a hot take. Go on and add it to your cart and take it. A pink glam nightstand from Wayfair? Scalding hot take. Take it before I do. A mid-century modern cabinet from Wayfair that doubles as a wine bar? Do I have to say it? It's a hot take. Get it at wayfair.com and enjoy that free shipping too.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
It's your man, Nick Cannon, and I'm here to bring you my new podcast, Nick Cannon at Night. I've heard y'all been needing some advice in the love department. So who better to help than yours truly? Nah, I'm serious. Every week, I'm bringing out some of my celebrity friends and the best experts in the business to answer your most intimate relationship questions. Having problems with your man? We got you. Catching feelings for your sneaky link? Let's make sure it's the real deal first. Ready to bring toys into the bedroom? Let's talk about it. Consider this a non-judgment zone to ask your questions when it comes to sex and modern dating in relationships, friendships, situationships, and everything in between. It's gonna be sexy, freaky, messy, and you know what? You'll just have to watch the show. So don't be shy. Join the conversation and head over to YouTube to watch Nick Cannon at Night or subscribe on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. Wanna watch episodes early and ad-free? Join Wondery Plus right now.
In the weeks following the murders, Austin police faced immense pressure to solve the case. The brutality, randomness, and youthful innocence of the victims fueled public outrage. Investigators initially focused on several persons of interest, but the case quickly became complicated, and over time, several key suspects emerged. Maurice Pierce. He was arrested in 1992 and charged with capital murder based on circumstantial evidence and a confession that he later recanted, claiming it was coerced. He had a history of burglary, but no direct forensic evidence linked him to the crime. After a lengthy legal battle, he was acquitted in 1994. Darwin Lee Ham Davis and Randy Souders. Both were arrested in the early 1990s. Souders' charges were later dropped due to lack of physical evidence, and Davis was acquitted. Other suspects came and went, but no one was ever definitively convicted for the murders. The lack of physical evidence and inconsistent witness statements made prosecutions difficult. So there are several different parts to this. First and foremost, flawed confessions. The investigation into the yogurt shop murders was marked by several controversial confessions, statements from suspects that later proved unreliable or were retracted entirely. Maurice initially confessed to the murders during those police interrogations. However, he later claimed that the confessions were coerced after hours of intense questioning and without a lawyer present. During long interrogations without legal counsel, suspects may confess falsely simply to end the stressful situation. Like, fine, I did it. This was apparent in the case of Maurice Pierce, whose confession was later recanted and contained factual inaccuracies, suggesting coercion rather than the truth. So with false confessions, certain individuals, especially those with lower intelligence, mental health issues, or youth, are more susceptible to false confessions. And that aligned with some of the suspects in the yogurt shop murders case, who may have been vulnerable during police questioning. Experts and critics have pointed out that Maurice Pierce's confession contained inconsistencies and factual errors that did not align with the crime scene. So this flawed confession contributed to his arrest and trial, But ultimately, it wasn't enough for a conviction, highlighting the dangers of relying heavily on coerced or false confessions in high-profile cases. And then you have confirmation bias. Once police obtain a confession, there is sometimes a tendency to focus on that narrative and then overlook contradictory evidence. And this may have occurred in the yogurt shop investigation, where early focus on suspects with confessions perhaps impeded a broader search for other leads. The yogurt shop murders exemplify the grave consequences of these false confessions, contributing to wrongful arrests and trials that ultimately fail to resolve the case, which delays justice for the victims' families. And then you have mishandled evidence. So from the start, the crime scene investigation faced challenges. The fire at the yogurt shop destroyed or contaminated critical physical evidence, making forensic analysis difficult. Some evidence was not properly preserved or collected according to modern standards, which frustrated later efforts to use advancing DNA technology. And there were also reports of delays in processing evidence and miscommunications between law enforcement agencies. These mistakes contributed to lost opportunities for breakthroughs early on. The forensic limitations in the early 90s meant that biological samples were often too degraded for meaningful analysis. But proper chain of custody issues compounded those difficulties. And then you have ongoing investigations into unidentified DNA. Despite the early investigative hurdles, advances in forensic science have provided new hope. Investigators have preserved some biological evidence recovered from the crime scene, evidence that could not be fully analyzed with the technology that was available in 1991. Now, years later, forensic teams extracted DNA profiles from some samples, but these did not match any of the suspects or known offenders in criminal databases. These are often referred to as unknown or unidentified DNA profiles. The presence of unidentified DNA indicates that the true perpetrators might still be out there, unlinked to the crime by current forensic records. Police and cold case units have periodically revisited the case, hoping that new DNA technologies such as genetic genealogy might eventually crack the mystery. However, the passage of time, potential contamination, and incomplete records have made these efforts challenging. The murders have devastated the families involved and left a deep scar on the Austin community. Parents have lost daughters who were vibrant, hopeful teenagers, and their lives cut brutally short. And they've often expressed frustration and heartbreak over the slow pace of justice and the seeming inability of authorities to catch these killers. Public vigils and memorials became regular fixtures as the community rallied to support the victims' families and demand some answers. And over the years, the emotional toll manifested in ongoing advocacy, counseling, and efforts to keep these victims' memories alive. And that was even as the case grew cold. And for many, the murder symbolized a loss of innocence and a sudden intrusion of violence into a place that had once felt very safe.
How hard is it to kill a planet? Maybe all it takes is a little drilling, some mining, and a whole lot of carbon pumped into the atmosphere. When you see what's left, it starts to look like a crime scene.
Are we really safe? Is our water safe? You destroyed our town.
And crimes like that, they don't just happen.
We call things accidents. There is no accident. This was 100% preventable.
They're the result of choices by people. Ruthless oil tycoons, corrupt politicians, even organized crime. These are the stories we need to be telling about our changing planet. Stories of scams, murders, and cover-ups that are about us and the things we're doing to either protect the Earth or destroy it. Follow Lawless Planet on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to new episodes of Lawless Planet early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.
Hey grown-ups, I'm Mindy Thomas.
And I'm Guy Raz.
And we're the host of the #1 podcast for curious kids, Wow in the World.
Mindy, can you believe we have our very own Wow in the World STEM toys?
I totally can't believe it, Guy Raz. 8 years ago, when we started making Wow in the World, we were on a mission to spread the latest wow discoveries in science and technology and innovation. And now we get to help kids discover these wows right at home?
That's right. From the ultimate high-flying air rocket to the light-up terrarium, there's something for every wowzer in your world to play and tinker with.
Grown-ups, you can find Wow in the World STEM toys available now at select Walmart locations or online at walmart.com. Shop the wow now.
Now, there are theories about the yogurt shop murders. 1, maybe it was a robbery gone wrong. Early on, investigators considered that the murders might have been the result of a robbery attempt that escalated violently. However, the cash register was found empty, and there was little evidence of forced entry or theft, making this theory less convincing. 2, sexual and targeted assault attack. So given the evidence of sexual assault, many believe that the murders were premeditated and carried out by someone with a sexual motive. Now, this theory suggests the girls were specifically targeted by one or more predators who had either followed them or were familiar with the shop's closing routines. 3, gang or drug-related violence. Some community members and investigators speculated that the murders might be linked to gang activity or drug disputes. The victims themselves were not known to be involved in gangs or drugs, and no clear evidence supported this, but this was explored as a possibility due to the brutality and the attempt to destroy evidence. 4, maybe there were multiple perpetrators working together. The complexity and nature of the crime, which was gruesome, suggests the involvement of more than one person. Witnesses reported seeing suspicious individuals around the strip mall that evening, leading to theories that it was a group attack rather than the work of a lone killer. 5, familiarity with the victims or the location. Some theories posit that the killers might have known the victims or the yogurt shop layout, allowing them to act with chilling precision. And this theory points to someone close to the girls or the employees, or a regular customer who knew the closing routines. 6, wrongful conviction theories. In light of the acquittals and the recanted confessions, some speculate that the real killers remain free and that the suspects arrested were wrongfully implicated due to investigative pressure. And then this theory emphasizes police missteps and flaws in evidence handling. The Yogurt Shop Murders is an HBO series that focuses on these murders of these 4 teenage girls in Austin, and it explores the impact of the crime, the subsequent investigation, and the enduring mystery surrounding the case. It features interviews with the investigators, with the victims' families, and individuals that are connected to the case, including 2 of those men who were initially convicted but later exonerated. And the series delves into the complexities of the case, including that initial investigation, the aggressive interrogation tactics that led to false confessions, and the challenges of relying on memory and storytelling in the pursuit of justice. It also examines the lasting trauma experienced by the community and the families of the victims. I really do believe, just like the Amy Bradley case, that by revisiting these cases years and years later, that there is the opportunity, with the public's attention, with all of the people that are so wise now when they navigate technology databases, people just talk about cases and memories come up, conversations that were had years ago that kind of put 2 pieces together, and I think can give us some more clarity and context on these cases and maybe even lead to some sort of answers. And I hope that's the case of the Yogurt Shop Murders. Again, this is a case that I've thought about quite often over the years. I first saw it on a 48 Hours episode, and you may have also. I'm telling you, we've got to get some answers to this case. It's what we owe these 4 vibrant, cheerful, joyful young women who are right on the cusp of beginning a next chapter in life. So again, it's called The Yogurt Shop Murders. It is on HBO. Now, the first episode aired on August 3rd, and there are 4 episodes. They air each Sunday, and I'm really interested to hear what you all think of the case. And if you love true crime, this is absolutely one that you're going to want to put in the queue and discuss in all of those groups that so many of you are also in, talking about true crime cases. So please make sure you go and check that out. And also, I hope that you are in the Facebook group Reality Life with KKC, because it is also a great place to talk about your different theories, what you thought of doc series. I also talk a lot about reality shows. So if you're someone who watches the romance shows, the competition shows, we are in there talking about them as well. please go to my list of what to watch each week at katecasey.substack.com, because each week I'm going to tell you all of the things you should be watching in unscripted TV, and they are going to cover a number of different categories, including sports, like I'm suggesting this week to watch SEC Any Given Saturday, which is on Netflix. Excellent series. So make sure you check that out. Also, check out the bonus episodes. And you can find them on Apple Podcast and on Patreon at patreon.com/KKC. I will be asking Jonathan about this yogurt shop murders case as well. And then finally, make sure that you follow me on social media. I'm on Instagram at @KKCCA, TikTok, it's KKC, Twitter, Threads, and Blue Sky at @KKC. And I want you to do so because, especially on my Instagram stories and TikTok, I'm going to give you updates on cases that I've covered or series that I've covered. I'm going to tell you about upcoming guests. I'm going to be asking questions, seeking upcoming guests. So make sure you follow me as well. So check back tomorrow for an all new episode.
Warning, the following ZipRecruiter radio spot you are about to hear is going to be filled with F-words.
When you're hiring, we at ZipRecruiter know you can feel frustrated, forlorn even, like your efforts are futile, and you can spend a fortune trying to find fabulous people, only to get flooded with candidates who are just fine. Fortunately, ZipRecruiter figured out how to fix all that. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/zip. With ZipRecruiter, you can forget your frustrations because we find the right people for your roles fast, which is our absolute favorite F word. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day.
Fantastic.
So, whether you need to hire 4, 40, or 400 people, get ready to meet first-rate talent. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/zip to try ZipRecruiter for free. Don't forget, that's ZipRecruiter.com/zip. Finally, that's ZipRecruiter.com/zip.